In a world where games are constantly improving themselves with unbelievable graphics, really incredible gimmicks and mechanics, and a top quality story is also presented to us, where we have come to the point that we can actually exist and interact inside the game environment in so many ways, where rewards are set for players to grind for hours and hours. How does a game that released in 2006 that mainly focused on bringing people together not only manages to become the fourth best-selling game of all time, but also its presence never seems to be forgotten in the gaming world? Well, hello amigos, and welcome to what I like to call the experience of Wii Sports. To remember the good old times of the Wii. It's 2010. You've just got home from school and your only worry is which game are you going to be playing for the afternoon. I have probably said this next statement in other videos, but no other console has done the same impact on a generation like the Wii did. While sure, the Xbox 360 had amazing video games like Halo Reach or Gears of War, or how about PlayStation 3 with many great titles as well, it's more than obvious that the market was a lot reduced for those consoles compared to the Wii. Because which one do you think is more difficult to explain to a person that has never touched a video game? This one? Or this one? And okay, while on Call of Duty or Gears of War the experience is immaculate, the multiplayer option offers more and more hours of playtime, and the controllers for experienced players seem like a breeze, it is only them that can have a good time whenever they want. If somebody that has not touched video games tries to join this experience, it doesn't really turn into an awful situation for everyone, but it will definitely take some time at first to learn the controllers and somehow get a grip of the things that are happening on the screen. When is it convenient to do this action or that action, or how about this action? Are we winning? Are we losing? I don't know. And now, if we go to the other side of the spectrum, being the Nintendo Wii, despite the weird and unique controllers they were offering, despite the bland look some games had compared to other consoles, despite not having that much power hardware-wise, it connected people through the simplicity. Because, well, to make this move, you just swing the controller in the way you would swing a baseball bat. On here, you swing it like if you were golfing. On here, you act like if you are throwing the ball. You don't have to necessarily explain to someone how to play tennis on Wii Sports, because everyone's first thought is just to swing the controller. That's how Nintendo geniusly turned a 5-sport catalog of games from real life into a gaming classic that would stand for generations. And the most amazing fact is that it wasn't really the biggest game with the biggest lore that you needed to follow. It was just a way to showcase the powers of the Nintendo Wii as a whole. And I think that is something that most of the games that are out on the market right now are missing. Try to open their audience to everyone. Wii Sports is remarkably known for its simplicity. Even I didn't notice until a few years later that one of the main factors of real baseball, which is running to the bases, isn't actually something that you can control on Wii Sports. Or how about running for the ball on tennis isn't actually possible as well. That doesn't mean that the game will turn repetitive or boring, but we come to the actual point of the console and the Wii. Have your audience literally be anyone. Anyone that knows a little bit of sports will know how to swing the baseball or throw the ball. Anyone that knows bowling will know that you just have to throw the ball down the lane and knock as many pins as you can. They don't need to necessarily know how to do curveballs to play baseball or how to do combos and dodge while boxing. It's just about the bare minimum of the sport for everyone to play. Wii Sports concept is truly beautiful. Having both sides of the spectrum in this 5-combo sports game, and both sides having the same chances of winning, because it's not necessarily something complicated for newcomers to understand, and it's also not something oddly boring or repetitive for gamers as well. We have tennis, which is just swinging the Wii controller as if you were swinging a tennis racket in real life and trying to get your opponents to miss. And while I do say it's just moving the controller back and forth, there's still a room for technique that can trick your opponents. That's where the actual tense comes into play. Maybe your opponent will turn the match 100 degrees by hitting it the other way. We also have baseball, the one that has been mentioned a couple times throughout this video and the one with the most impressive visuals in my opinion. It's such a genius way of showing how powerful your swing is at the ball, and also it's really cool how they turn the whole running to the base situation, since well, Wii Sports is not out to be played just in front of the TV due to limitations, so now that whole system is based on how long the Miis take to catch the ball. It can slip out of the Mii's hand or it can roll for a really long time, which again adds that feeling of pressure of getting the actual ball for your opponent to not get that ahead or let it roll for the opportunity to roll a triple. The home run and out of the park are also here as a way to reward the player for playing it smart. It's not necessarily of hitting the ball as hard as I can or as fast as I can. It's a combination of those two to get it as further as possible. That combination can be possible by the way you hit the ball. This might seem obvious, but for a console that was the pioneer for motion controls, having this much effect on hitting the ball was so impressive at the time. Golf might not be my favorite, but I still somehow remember fondly how relaxing it can be sometimes. I think it's the only one that doesn't put that much pressure since it goes at everyone's singular pace. A good way to distract yourself from the constant competitions the other sports have. Bowling surprisingly makes the cut on Wii Sports, because while it may not be that serious of a sport in the real world, everyone can recognize how important bowling matches are on Wii Sports. It not only depends on how much force you throw the ball with, there's customization on the curveness, there's also precise shots that you can do because of the zooming into the lane, there's also the way you actually throw the bowling ball with the controller. This is probably the only one that can actually have the hugest skill difference, because while sure you can just throw it in the middle and hope for it to not slide to the gutters, you can totally try and experiment with the tools the game gives you to steer your bowling ball in many other ways. And probably my favorite one, boxing. I'm honestly surprised that this sport wasn't brought back to future entries of this saga, because having the whole crowd cheering you on the match while you beat up the computer or a friend is just so intense. Probably the most original way to use the Wii controller in Wii Sports in my opinion, and a super fun sport to end the Wii Sports Experience. Just imagine you have been rivaling with your partner or every other sport, and to finish it off you have a final game of boxing to decide it all. And here's the thing, it's not only 5 sports that they are offering. If you decide to explore a little bit throughout the menu, there's the training section. These are not necessarily super different to the original sports, but it was a really clever way to also add a bit of single player adventures into the mix. If you wanted to train your swings or your dodging skills on boxing, you could always hit the training sessions to have better reflexes. It was also somewhat rewarding since you get to see in a way more places of this universe, the tennis training courses being blue, the 100 pin challenge of bowling, or seeing that one of the Miis actually had a golden run while boxing and then decided to turn into a coach for us. It's those little details that add more and more life into the game. To make these experiences even better, the soundtrack of this game has also top quality performance. It fits the game so well, and it doesn't become stale or shows aging after all these years, because even almost 20 years later after release, the soundtrack of Wii Sports is still recognized because of the catchy tones it offers while playing. Just booting up the game and hearing that iconic jingle of Wii Sports made the experience worth it. It's not overwhelmingly developed or appears on every single sport as a background sound, but it still manages its way to be present on the game. We all remember the iconic melodies when finishing a sport, each one being super different. Boxing offered a more groovy and encouraging jingle that made you want to keep going with the next fight. Baseball ending theme feels straight up taken out from a sports movie that no matter if you won or lost, it still was a pretty amazing match at the end of the day. I can go on and on about how in just a minute they managed to amazingly conclude the sport you are playing, and it also represents the game in a way. It doesn't have the most impressive instruments and it's just one melody being repeated with some variants, but if it's a good melody, it doesn't annoy the player, and in fact, it makes the player want to try again. Then why try to add even more stuff when it's already perfect? We have just discussed the 5 game modes this game brings: tennis, baseball, bowling, golf, and boxing. It may not seem like much, and add to that point that most of the features are removed due to limitations of the hardware. So how do we compensate these missing key elements from some of the sport? Well, how about we take a look on who are the protagonists on this game. Having the main characters being simple Miis instead of popular athletes from the sports is also a great touch because, again, while it would have been cool to see some of the important faces of these sports, like how Mike Tyson appeared on Punch-Out, not everyone will know who these famous persons are, and it's also not a requirement to have them on the game to be enjoyable. So instead, create a new universe with full new characters so it's something everyone needs to understand. And speaking about Miis, getting able to play as yourself in that universe adds so much uniqueness to Wii Sports. Because even in games like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, there's the slightest possibility that you don't feel any attachment to any character from the roster. It just doesn't feel right to be playing as Donkey Kong or Falco. It doesn't represent who you truly are in the Nintendo universe. Well, how about you literally play as yourself? The Miis are also something that not only remarked Wii Sports, but Nintendo as a whole. It came as a brand new way to transport yourself into this digital world, because you aren't actually getting the exact same details as your face and body, but still, you get to create a character that represents you in the huge catalog of games from the Nintendo Wii. This was also something that came to revolutionize many other games and platforms. Take a look at how you can create yourself on other sports games, or how about get to play as your avatar in games like Kinect Adventures. Miis became so important, and have them being the protagonist in the game that came bundled with the Wii, it just turns Wii Sports as one of the few, if not the only game console bundle combo that truly takes advantage of everything of the console and provides the perfect first experience. Because, well, what else is missing from this first impression of the Wii as a console? Miis are a requirement since it's the only option you get to play as, and well, it's a really cool way to represent yourself inside the game. The motion controllers are also a requirement to mimic the movements of real-life sports, but not necessarily taken to the most precise way, and the buttons and the sensor bar are used to choose the actual sport and your customization before playing. So again, is there something missing, or are there any flaws on Wii Sports that prevent it from becoming a perfect game? In my opinion, no, this game is perfect in any way you look at it, and I know it doesn't have the deepness that The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild has, or for comparison, a game from the Wii itself, the difference between Mario Galaxy having a charming and straight up spectacular story and gameplay does not compare to the 5 sports of Wii Sports, and also it doesn't stand a chance when it comes to how precise other sports games were from the same era. Games like Madden or FIFA truly represent the complexity of sports into video games, and Wii Sports was offering 5 sports that each had thought and dedications put into them, but still had many ways to beat your opponents with ease and sometimes not having the best gameplay per se. So despite all of that, Wii Sports seems to always be remembered so fondly because of the priceless hours of playing with family and friends. Spending hours in front of the TV while trying to get a perfect score on bowling is something that we've all done. Or how about taking a break and travel through the golf courses was also just so relaxing. That's why I consider Wii Sports as a perfect game. It represents one of the big points of gaming, a way to escape reality to just have fun. Wii Sports became a super important piece for Nintendo, the first one to use Mii's in their video games as a protagonist to really set the idea of playing as yourself in the game. It was proven that these were so important when they made the comeback on future entries and even an appearance in many Mario games. It also was one of the few that took full advantage of what the Wii was capable of doing, showing how you can experience bowling and baseball in the same living room. As well, and probably the heart of this game, the multiplayer on Wii Sports is pure gold. It not only goes down as perfectly executed multiplayer, but also one of the few that everyone can join the action because the rules are simple but joyful. And I'm not the only one that thinks that, because while sure the sales of this game mainly depends on being bundled with the console itself, there are people that still make videos of playing this game, trying to get a perfect game on baseball or just having a good time. It proves that you don't necessarily need the latest piece of gaming tech to have fun, because the idea of just swinging the controller back and forth may sound dull, but if it's well executed, it suddenly becomes a masterpiece. So with having the best reception for this new series, there was no other way to go but up. And I'm glad that was the case with the sequel being Wii Sports Resort. I'm not going to totally forget my statement of Wii Sports Resort being the best sports game ever released. Wii Sports Resort truly holds that record in my opinion, but I do have to admit it, Wii Sports stands a little bit higher. Because for every amazing and spectacular sequel that's out there, there's always the first one that started it. And well, Wii Sports Club might not have been the best release ever, but it improved the controllers of the original Wii Sports. It's something, right? At the end of the day, the Wii U was trying to be like his predecessor, so it doesn't surprise me that the original Wii Sports came as a remake to this console. The whole thought was just poorly executed though. When I heard that Nintendo Switch Sports was going to be a thing, I thought that Nintendo finally realized the masterpiece they made with Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort, finally leaving back the Wii U era and bring back what could have been. Sadly, that wasn't the case. Nintendo went backwards when it came to Nintendo Switch Sports. Why create a new world with new characters? Why try to rebrand this series when you have barely touched the original concept? Why try to replicate what you did on the Wii with the Nintendo Switch? Don't get me wrong, the ideas for the sports on Nintendo Switch Sports are amazing, but this new world doesn't have the feeling that Woohoo Island had. It's just a bland city with no way to explore it or feel like you are there. Same style of backgrounds for the majority of sports, and well, it was a bad execution for this franchise. Maybe I'm getting away from the actual topic. You know what? Let's live with the thought that Nintendo wanted to try of bringing back this series to newcomers. Maybe my Woohoo Island will be someone's Paco Square. That's a nice thought, don't you think? But I hope that Nintendo someday remembers the incredible world they created with Wii Sports Resort and also the beautiful concept of Wii Sports, which in my opinion is be fun, simple, and engaging for everyone. That, in my opinion, is what gaming is supposed to be. This has been Dovitunes, and I hope to see you on the next video. Adios. Whoa, calm down, mister. I'll see you on the next video. Bro, who even am I, bro? If you're a fan of my videos and notice a slight change of how I edited and narrated this video, don't worry. I just wanted to do one of these type of videos, and you know what? Maybe I'll do the next one like this. I don't know. The biggest inspiration for this video was Liam Triforce. Guys, if you aren't watching Liam Triforce's videos, you are missing out on top quality content like mine. Honestly, I shouldn't be wasting more of y'all's time. You know, you just spent watching me talking about Wii Sports for the past 20 minutes. I mean, if you are here, then thank you. You've given me watch hours. That's great. So if you enjoyed this type of narrating and editing, please let me know by subscribing and in the comments letting me know, hey, this was pretty cool to watch. So thank you so much for staying on the video till the very end. And again, this has been the Tunes, and I hope to see you on the next video. Adios.